I'm here because of the work we do, the services that we provide, and the men and women who provide them are under attack. For those men and women who teach our kids or come to the rescue when they need help, whether it's police or fire. And the men and women who keep our city streets clear of all the snow that we've gotten this past winter. And boy, it's been a lot. Fill those potholes during those long, cold winters, and much more, the vital services that you use every day. Everyone understands that times are tough and everybody has to make adjustments in their budgets. We did it 2 years ago, not only saved my job, but the jobs of several other firefighters here in the city of St. Paul. We need to stand together and stop these attacks, and we need to focus on getting the American people back to work. Thank you.
In recent years, we have seen a worldwide upsurge in grassroots movements such as the Arab Spring, 1 Million for Democracy, Hungarian Solidarity, Occupy Wall Street, the Tea Party, to the collective bargaining protests in Ohio, Wisconsin, and other states. Grassroots movements give voice to those who feel they are not being heard or represented by their government or their communities on important issues. Supporters of these movements are diverse, from moderate to highly educated, from professional to government workers to business owners, low income to middle class, politicians and political junkies, and those who have never been politically active. Movements have taken place in countries that previously had few or no public protest, with supporters risking their lives and in some cases intentionally ending it. These movements are diverse in nature, nonviolent and violent, and in many cases has been able to cause financial institutions to reconsider their policies, elect politicians and recall them, change laws, overthrow governments, install democracies, and topple dictators. The term grassroots was used in the United States at the turn of the century by politicians referring to their constituents, ordinary people. In 1903, the term appears in a news article for a campaign for Theodore Roosevelt's running mate, Eli Torrance. A political organizer is quoted. "Roosevelt and Torrance clubs will be organized in every locality. We will begin at the grassroots." A grassroots movement is a group social action based on an informal grouping of individuals or organizations focusing on a political or social issue. Grassroots groups and organizations utilize various tactics to campaign their message and generate pressure for action in order to create social change. The purpose of these movements may be to cause reform, advocating a change in existing laws or norms. Radical movements focus on changing a whole value system. Conservative movements desire to protect existing laws and norms. Historically, these movements have existed for centuries, causing an end to slavery, demanding voting rights for women, and civil rights for African Americans. The American Civil Rights Movement of the 50s and 60s focused on racial discrimination and the restoration of voting rights. Their legislative achievements were the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Millions of Americans are denied the right to vote because of their color. This law will ensure them the right to vote. The wrong is one which no American in his heart can justify. The right is one which no American, true to our principles, can deny.
According to the Center of American Progress, these and current grassroots movements believe deeply in the empowerment and equality of the less privileged in society, the primacy of democracy in American life, and the notion that government should safeguard the common good from unchecked individual and commercial greed. They challenged government to eliminate its own legal injustices and also harness the force of government as a vital tool for advancing human freedom and establishing the more perfect union envisioned by the Founding Fathers. In December 2010, a fruit seller in Tunisia set himself on fire in order to protest the confiscation of his wares and the harassment inflicted on him by government officials. This act led to violent street demonstrations not seen in Tunisia in 30 years.
It's now spread to the capital. Now, hundreds gather outside the city's labor union. The government has agreed to talk to union representatives to stop the violence. This action was sparked by anger over a lack of jobs. And it's been going on for more than a week, with the opposition saying it's been a long time coming.
And on January 2011, President Ben Ali was ousted from office, ending his 23 years in power. Like a domino effect, within 2 years, other countries followed suit with the Tunisian-style revolution. During that same time, the United States experienced its own awakening, called by some the American Autumn. With the success of the Tea Party and other anti-tax, small government advocates, austerity measures were put in place around the country with no new revenue streams. In Wisconsin, 100,000 citizens protested their budget repair bill by occupying their state capitol rotunda. These protests spread to other states like Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan, with protesters in tens and hundreds of thousands fighting against their own state bills, attacking collective bargaining rights called right-to-work legislation in some states. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, an explosion of 744 bills across the country targeted public sector unions. On September 17, 2011, young protesters gathered in Zuccotti Park, located in New York City's Wall Street financial district. The Occupy Wall Street movement, inspired by events in Tunisia, protested against social and economic inequality, high unemployment, greed, and the influence of financial services corporation on government. The protesters' slogan, "We are 99%, refers to the growing income and wealth inequality in the U.S. between the wealthiest 1% and the rest of the population. The protest in New York City sparked similar Occupy protests across the country and around the world. What makes the movements of today different from the movements of the past? Today, there is a plethora of diverse movements and organizations existing and succeeding in their goals. There are nearly 100 different grassroots movements and thousands of groups and organizations existing simultaneously in different countries and cultures. Why now?